Hello, hello. We're a bunch of
Versus
idiots.
Moxie Seven.
We're talking about mocks and
You
stuff.
were saying how, like, for
Hello.
you,
Fuck Tristan's a piece of shit. Anyway, continue.
Die, Zach.
Kike, um, Tristan was saying how, like, for now, or like the way he's moving forward, his mocks are an extension of his story. His story isn't an extension of the mocks,
Yeah, I
you know,
I feel like
whereby the your Lego creations are byproducts of the story you were writing, not the other way around.
yeah, exactly. It's more of just a way to visualize the characters in my mind and give but like give people who read the story something tangible to look at and envision, like what's
Yeah.
happening in the story.
Well, that's why I prefer the medium of visual novels, regular novels and books now. I think that's genuinely superior because when I see the sprites of characters and things, and granted, a lot of them are just stupid incest, sex games. A lot of them, when there's a tangible, like it's a
When there's like
tangible
a decent storyline
person.
behind it, it's actually worth doing. It's
Exactly,
worth
because
playing
you can
through.
see when there's character sprites, like the Ace Attorney games, for instance. Everybody knows that. That's not a contested thing. Can't talk about Ace
I
Attorney without
felt I
talking
felt that way a lot of the time, like about The Last of Us. If you've ever played that,
about. Never played what?
The Last of Us.
I haven't played The Last of Us. No,
Okay,
I've heard a
but
lot of things about that game.
yeah, same.
it's a very good game. I felt that way about that game. I felt like the game was more of a way to say, "Hey, look, pay attention to our story. Here, this will keep you occupied while you're listening to our awesome story and like becoming
Well, I think,
you're beginning to
yeah,
care about the characters, because instead of making it like, oh hey, look all these characters that you should care about, oh and here's some mediocre gameplay behind it, they put effort into making the gameplay engaging and also making the story fantastic, you know.
yeah.
So if we're gathering is that you basically say that like mocking is like an art that people can use to demonstrate like you, I guess, or like present.
It
Oh,
varies from person to
it's
person. I feel like
I think
a
for a
lot
lot
Because
of
people
people,
have like artistic experience, they can draw and shit.
well yeah, I mean, well I
yeah.
think for like a lot of people, like for Crow for example, he doesn't really have much of a story, but
Sorry, who?
Crow, Ben, whatever, Kronos Omega,
Oh yeah.
um
Alright then.
yeah, like
Well,
he
I
doesn't
told
really
Crow, I was like,
seem
write
to
a
have.
story. And he was like, I put pen to paper, but I don't have enough confidence in myself. Is basically what he said to continue. So he
Yeah,
just
I
takes
feel
time.
like
That's fun for a lot of writers. I get that.
yeah, I get that. I mean, like, I guess how I feel about his mocks is that they're an exercise in creativity and an exercise in like how far he can push the art form, but they're not a way for him to tell a story or tell people about himself. They're a way for him to show off what he can do with Lego, and that's perfectly fine. That's just not what
I
I
agree
do.
with that.
That's
Well,
just not what I
it's like
do.
what I said earlier. I said it, but I'll say it again for the record. Every time you go on to a mock, and we will look at mocks and mock pages from up and comers, if you want to call them that, or some of them are not up and comers. Some of them are just going to stagnate and abandon the mocking as an art form. And
Well,
we will look at
largely,
every
as
one.
I
Wait,
largely
wait,
did a
wait,
couple
wait.
of
Is
years
this
ago.
going on like the YouTube channel?
Why not?
We'll see. We'll
I
see how
mean,
it
well,
goes.
I mean, I can certainly upload it to mine. I can upload it overnight when I go to bed.
Ah, fuck you.
I don't know.
But every
I'm
time
What are
we
we
having
gonna
see
any
do with this?
purposes.
What are we gonna do with
every time
this?
we
To be
see a
honest,
mock on a place like mock pages or
like
and we'll
Flickr or
see
Google Plus,
it happens
Google
mostly
Plus
on mock
mocks.
pages where you'll see a mock that's not that good, the camera quality is not that good, but there's like a big long
Yeah, it's got like a wall
text
of text,
wall a wall of text, and it's like sometimes it's not formatted at all, poor grammar,
but sometimes it's
capital
actually decent and
punctuation,
impressive,
things are
and
not working.
then the mock just detracts from it.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's sometimes that happens, but a lot of the
Sometimes
times
like the
what
story is
the
really,
God
really
knows
background
it's
impressive
gonna
and
be
and
now.
well made, and then the mock just detracts from it. But other times they're both really cringe.
well, but my point is, when you have that, and it's like there's bad quality images and bad grammar text, and the text is not good, you still have to recognize the fact that someone built this mock that they knew was poor, and they took these photos with a camera that they knew had poor quality, which means that the driving factor was mostly that wall of text that they put there. And you have to appreciate that too, is the fact that a lot of people, they have something to say. And of course, when we exist in a medium, an art medium that where we literally write stories about things called our self mocks, there is a level of self indulgence and escapism with
Oh yeah,
everyone
it's
who writes anything.
there's a level of immaturity to it. I mean, you're basically
Of
self-representing
course.
in a story
Right,
of
right,
your
right.
own creation.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's largely a way to live out fantasies of being a hero or whatever.
It is. It is writing in, this community and making remarks and stuff is an extension of one's escapism.
Yes, and actually, like, to a large extent, I find it kind of cathartic because I can put to paper things about myself that I don't really want to accept about myself as a person, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Like,
my self-mock story is very much in the works, but it's about loneliness and it's about, fear of being alone and how that eats it.
yeah, exactly.
It's
And I
not
mean, like,
reflected.
the I mean, well, I guess you guys are aware of this, but I guess the viewers would not be if anybody's even viewing this.
Where the what you like that?
Like, well, you're aware of the fact that like every one of the four main characters in my story is based off of me and based off of things in my personality that I'm not proud of.
Yeah, you were saying that.
I'm like I've deliberately made all of my main characters not really that likable because I don't like personally see myself as a very likable person.
Well,
Well,
Like,
yeah, it always like, you know, when it comes to that, it kind of reflects of your own personality, and sometimes it comes a little bit distorted and warped.
yeah,
The
no,
process,
absolutely,
but everything, it's all
absolutely.
reflections of it. I guess
I'm
it's like when you put light through a prism. Is it?
Yeah, no, that's actually that's a
And
perfect analogy. It's like putting a light
yeah,
through a prism.
it comes
It's
in multiple
like,
different hues.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, I'm sure that I'm sure that like there will be things about the characters that are flattering to my own personality just to make myself feel better about it, but I'm trying to
Yeah.
be as pragmatic and honest with myself as I possibly can be because I don't want to sugarcoat my own personality. This story is as
Mm.
much
There was
for
a
me to get things off of my chest as it is for everybody to enjoy,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. No, I get you. Like there was a,
That's certainly something you must do for like a self release. Had to have some type of representation.
What's that?
In that
Yeah.
case,
Oh,
why
yeah.
even a self mock?
Okay.
No, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. If
But
it's a self mock because because it represents you. It's not a self mock
I mean,
because
sure, you can add characteristics, other things if that's what you enjoy, but the
yeah,
bottom
absolutely.
line and like the origin of the character should at least represent you.
Yes, absolutely. There
Otherwise,
should
you're
be
just
something about
building
you.
something else.
No, yeah,
Yeah, no,
absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I feel like actually to a large extent that's a flaw with a lot of people because they build a self mock but they literally just base it off of like some TV character that they like and want to emulate and they don't
Well,
really I mean like look
it,
at
it's really interesting to see how people go attachment to characters that they have made as yeah, characters they've made as
oh
representations of themselves,
honestly
and then how people
that's
have abandoned those as time went on. Like when Shadowgear came back, he was like, you know, Shadow's
Minion.
not myself mocking anymore.
Yeah,
That
here's
was like a
Minion.
revolution. You saw people just abandon their self mocks and go to new ones because they, a lot of people were sticking with the personality that they've been set with. Their own
Yeah.
mock. I did it too. I ditched my self mock Rex, who was this disgruntled, stupid mercenary, for a stupid, disgruntled king who got scrapped as well eventually.
Yo,
But
yeah,
it
I
really was
yeah,
a big
actually
thing when people went, yeah,
actually
we all evolved. This happens to all of us. This is an acceptable thing to do.
yeah,
To
like actually
replace your
I
self-mock with a
completely
different
agree with
character.
I
that
mean, you two both are examples of that. I don't think
because
I do
I
that.
abandoned my
But
old
the
bionicle
only thing,
like
the only thing I can like say is the fact that my change with Lucian.
wow, Zach, your voice is really lagging out on my end.
It's really what?
It's really like freaking out on my end, but you know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, wait.
Oh wait, there he goes. There he goes.
Oh, there
Rip
it goes.
Zach. But I mean, like, I guess
Okay,
to a
I'm
large
back.
extent. Oh, okay. Hey, look, he's back. I guess, like, to a large extent, that's yeah. Like, Sean and I are huge examples of that because I abandoned my old. Not only did I abandon my old Bionicle self mock, I abandoned my old Bionicle story
I've done that
just
twice.
to
Get on my level.
You
like.
see, with me, I have yet to do that, but like, I've evolved with my self mock, and
Yes,
that self mock
and
has
I
evolved
think
with me as well.
I think that
I
that's
don't
an
mean to
I think that that's an art
contradict
in
what you're saying or
itself.
put less weight on it, but you, Zach, haven't put out much on your story, so you haven't had the need to reboot.
Well, yeah, that is fair
Like,
enough.
Yeah.
For me, like, Rex had this whole.
But even from
story
like
that
the
was
earliest
stupid but
drafts,
established.
like even from the earliest draft of like, the story that I was, things that
But
definitely.
the thing is, those weren't public, so nobody knows
Yeah,
except
like,
for you how that was.
yeah, I
You
don't
can
really like.
easily restart it over, but like me and Tristan have been like,
I mean, I was there
put
back
all
when you were
these
like
things
first
about us on
developing your
Mox, and myself,
story, and
Mock Rex had all these stupid stories about him, and I said, these don't suit him anymore. How do I get rid of him? The only way to get rid of him is to get, the only way to get rid of these stories is to get rid of him with a different character, and that's what I ended up doing twice over.
yeah, yeah, I
You know?
completely get that. It's the same thing largely with well, like, for example, my old Bionicle storyline. I had like a good 3/4 of it written before I decided to abandon it. That's how deep I got into it, and it was actually decent. I'm still kind of proud of it. I think it's one of my better pieces of writing.
Yeah, no, I went
I
back.
just wish I
No,
hadn't lost it
it's
on my old hard drive.
it's
Um,
it's funny how you can go back and you can look at something like that, which is really, a period piece of how you thought of yourself and how your life was going at the time.
yeah,
And you can
it was a
just
much
trash back
it was a
then.
much more optimistic storyline. It was during a
That's interesting.
happier time in my life. It was, and
Exactly. It
actually,
just provides these evolution
It
person.
it does, and it really is a chronicle of you. I've had three son Mock. I've had Rex, I had Ion, and now I have Archer. And I went back and I saw Rex's story, and I was like, this is cynical. This isn't very good. But then I went back to Ion's story, where I've changed less since I wrote his, 2 years ago, and I said, I'm still not sure whether that story is written good to my current standard, or whether I just can make more sense of it because I haven't changed that much as a person
hey man,
since
you
I
can always
wrote
send
that.
it. I'll be happy to give a critique. I'll be happy to give a
I
critique
mean,
on
it's
it. I mean,
113 pages, so
I'll read it.
don't make a guy promise you can't keep.
Dude, I read through A Song of Ice and Fire in a day.
Oh yeah, you're like that guy. I mean, you might be Ty Lopez, the guy who reads a.
Oh man, I might be.
I don't know, Tristan. Do you have a Lamborghini?
I wish.
Does Ty Lopez have a Lamborghini?
Yeah, he's the
Oh, he
Lamborghini
does.
guy,
You're
dude.
right, yeah.
Yeah,
He is.
yeah, he's the Lamborghini guy. I wish, dude. I
Listen, only
absolutely
followed him
wish.
on Twitter the other day. Come listen to that.
I'm not gonna lie.
But no, I remember there was a point where it was after I went to my second sort of mock Ion, where I was like, I'm just gonna leave and I'm done because my story wasn't working, nobody cared because it's not good. And I wasn't putting it in my places, but I was just like, I'm done because the story was as um as the mocks, it's like what Tristan said, whether an extension of the mocks are an extension of the story, not the other way around.
I actually,
The problem with that is people care more about the mocks, and you have to realize that. So if you're making a story, make sure you have something to say. If it's just self-satisfying, you're gonna be disappointed, and that's why I feel like a lot of mockers make a couple posts and then fall off the face of the earth.
yeah, I completely agree with that. And actually, I think that was a huge problem with my original story. And like back when I was first on mock pages, before I left for like 2 years and then came back about a month ago, I feel like that was a huge issue. Well, yeah, I mean like my entire story was just self-satisfaction. It was basically rewriting my life at the time. It wasn't even like, it was basically just like putting my life at the time into a format that was in the Bionicle storyline, in the Bionicle universe. That was what it was. That's what happened.
Yeah.
And
No, I've done that.
I went back and I disliked it so much, and I just realized this is, not only is this not a satisfying story, even though it was well written, like, man, mechanics in that were top notch in my opinion, but I mean, even though like it was objectively well written, it didn't have substance. And
Yeah.
it wasn't an emotional experience. It was just kind of like, hey, look at me, my life is good. I mean, the story was called Bright Future, for Christ's sake. That's it was so empty, when I went back and looked at it. It was like, what's the point of this? Why did I do this? Why did I spend so much of my life writing this and making this?
You realize that you are, a Shakespearean character that doesn't have a dramatic purpose, so you should do it under the play.
Yeah, exactly. I
Steven would
realized
provide an interesting.
I realized
How
that
do you
like
guys feel
13 and
about
14-year-old me
continuing
was,
a Bionicle story.
oh man.
Wait, ask the question again. Sorry, you liked it, but
Yeah, he mic'd out a bit.
Basically, it's like, how do you guys feel about writing in the Bionicle?
Like writing in the
Making
Bionicle
your own.
universe.
Yeah, writing the Bionicle universe or like making your own.
Well,
I see nothing
I've
wrong
had
with people who
experience
write in the
with both.
Bionicle universe, but I feel like I have much more freedom and much more artistic agency than I do when I am writing in the Bionicle universe. And it doesn't matter to me whether or not I use Bionicle to represent my characters, because that's what I'm choosing to do anyway. It's not like I can draw for crap, but it's yeah, I feel less freedom when I'm writing within the Bionicle universe than I do when I'm writing my own universe, and I've come to prefer writing my own universe, although I see nothing wrong with the Bionicle storyline. If you want to do that, good on you. Wow, the silence.
There goes Zach.
Yeah, there goes
For
Zach
me-
again.
For me, what I think it's more of is I have experience writing with both. My first story was an extension of Generation 1 with Rex. My second story with Helen was an extension of Generation 2. And my third story is with Archer and Money at the moment. And it's
And
not
it's
related
kind
to
of like
anything.
it's kind of like a
It-
weird crossover.
It's you know it's a crossover with Fate Stay Night and the visual novel and anime.
Which I'm
So,
fine with, honestly. I think crossovers are fine, and if you can pull that off, good
I
on
think
you.
I think there's not enough crossovers.
Yeah, I really don't think that there are enough
existing.
crossovers, and I think
Especially with
I think people view them
thing
with,
like Fate.
I feel like people view them with a lot of disdain, and that doesn't really make sense to me. Because it's just kind of
It
like,
generally comes from the stigma of, like fanfic, like crossovers
It-
mostly come from like fanfiction.com. There's a stigma with fanfiction.
yeah, crossovers, alright, crossovers, to a large extent, have a bad reputation because of, like, crossovers on Wattpad and whatever.
I've read some funny crossovers. I mean, getting back to Fate, they're limited disability.
Oh, whoa, your mic's dying,
It's a
bro.
crossover. Well, there's a fanfiction I read. There was a crossover. I swear, I'll get back to on topic of this. Called Unlimited Disability Works. Everyone should go look it up if you're a fan of Kettle Shoujo and or Fate.
Zach, are you breathing into the
Anyway.
mic? Are you
Nah,
waving
that's
the
a
mic
fan, dude,
around the
don't
room?
worry.
Oh, alright.
What
Like,
There you go.
Zach, are you swinging your phone around to catch the
have-
air?
I have experience writing with both in and outside the universe. I don't think it matters too much, but generally, I don't think that unless you're doing something really good,
Wow, Zach, you
then
need to
that's
stop.
not a draw for anybody to write you.
What'd you
know,
say?
to read your stuff a lot.
What's it to you?
Tristan, what did you say?
What's it to you?
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. I'm
Man,
sorry.
keep
We should
on
continue with
topic,
this. we should do this. All right. No, yeah, I
What about
completely
you, though,
agree
Zach?
with
What
you,
do you
Sean.
think about like writing in or outside of the bottom? Me personally, I don't think it matters either.
I think
See, I
Oh.
chose the easy way out, and that's with an alternate.
yeah,
That is the easy way out. But
that is the easy
the-
way out to a large
You call
extent.
it
It
easy
is-
way out, but it's. I don't know if people don't care enough about biological fiction, or
Well,
they
that's
just
certainly a part of
don't.
it. I don't think a lot of people
Oh, no,
really
no,
care
no.
about bionicle fiction anymore.
Generally, people don't. People,
At least not
Personally,
anymore.
I can see that because not a lot of people really.
Well, not a lot of there
This
are not a
original
lot.
idea that
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's not like the fandom of Bionicle is that huge anymore. It's kind of died down in the last few years, and
yeah, it's
like especially since
I
the
mean,
end of
I'm
Bionicle.
gonna level with you guys, and it's gonna sound very.
Oh boy.
This situation's not gonna get better when it comes to activity.
Oh no, I completely agree.
Wait, what'd you say?
I said I'm gonna level, and it's cynical, but the situation's not getting any better when it comes to that.
No, yeah, it's not getting any better. The Bionicle community is slowly dying off to a large extent. And I mean, there's always gonna be people like, I mean, Shadowgear. Shadowgear's basically keeping Biotube alive. He's really the only one of the old Biotube group that's left. I guess BioRock is
I
still doing stuff.
Can't look, man. You can't call it BioTube when it's Shadow Gear and BioRock doers.
That's true. That's true.
That's not BioTube. That's just two channels. That
I mean,
exist. Yeah.
hold on, has Kawanuba ever come back? I remember him doing some videos like about a year
I
ago.
mean, I don't think he's ever gone because he's just posting enough short and stupid, and not stupid, but short, silly
Yeah.
things
Well, hold on,
to
let me
keep himself
Like,
not
it-
dead.
youtube.com
Like, in
slash
terms of people who have
slash
returned and actually made an impact, it's
1,
Shadow
3,
Gear,
5.
or Junie, and
Aren't
Yeah,
those two the same
he's when was his last activity?
Mhm.
What was his last
No,
activity?
I made a stupid joke. Never mind.
When was his last posted video? His
At
last
least in
posted
terms of the
video was
old
2 weeks
generation,
ago.
Those are the only ones who've come back, and maybe
Kyler Newby's
Jeffar
done
28
some
came back
stuff.
for a little bit on Flickr.
Mm.
I
Those are
mean,
the only 4 that
I guess people like Raj Sakaya and to some extent Junie. I mean, we all know how we feel about Junie, but
Well, how long is oh, what's his handle? I know his real name's Iggy.
Oh, Iggy, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
He
Iggy.
was Tiberius. How long has he been around for?
He's been around for a long
502,
time, and
he's
he's actually
old,
he's been around since like the beginning of BioTube, or like maybe
I've
a
never
little bit
really,
after
like,
the beginning.
specified on how old
But I
he
mean-
is. I know him, but I've never like. He has been around for a while though.
He's been around for a very long time. He was
But if I'm gonna call him, OG, then Zach, Tristan, Steven, Commander Spencer, Venton, they're all also OG. They're old as hell.
well. I mean,
Apparently we're old as hell.
all right. You
I
know what?
mean, technically, James Venton is part of BioTube.
Oh no, yeah. Well, James
And I-
has a channel, and Spencer does have a channel, but I mean, it's not like he's
I mean,
doing anything
We'll
with it.
talk about it.
I don't think he wants us to talk about it.
I don't think he wants us to talk about it, but why not anyway?
Yeah, we probably should talk
Spencer,
about
post
it.
your version of my
Commander Spencer is a very,
Special person.
very special individual.
This is really mean.
He has a
Considering
YouTube
that
channel.
he's definitely gonna see this. He's definitely
It's
gonna see this. This is
something
being made in our Discord chat. He is
Oy vey,
gonna
don't
see
mess with
this.
Oy vey.
Oy vey.
Man,
Don't
we
mess
are
with
so
new
sorry we're letting
chats.
Any Jews listening to this right now?
Oh, hey, hi,
Any
hello
Jews
there.
listening
I'm a
to
Jew.
now?
Hey, I'm a Jew.
Well,
How's it
Tristan
going?
can take it more than our people.
I'm an ethnic Jew. Hello, how's it going?
Alright, anyway, we're talking
Mazel
about
tov,
main
everybody.
characters. I want to get you guys' opinion on how develop a character and establish it.
Ooh.
Ooh, all right. Ready, boys?
I'll let Tristan do this first because I think
We'll let this one go.
All right,
go first.
all right. Here we go.
To the Lions, then you go.
All right, so this is gonna have, I guess, some minor spoilers for my story, but I mean, it's not like it's out there yet for people to read. It's not
Or anyone
finished.
cares.
Die.
Alright,
But
I get what you're saying. It's not,
I mean, it's gonna have some
Yeah,
spoilers,
this is
but that's kind of inevitable because I already have the plot points planned out and whatever. It doesn't really matter. And plus, this is among the 3 of us, whatever. So, right, I guess we'll take the prime example, Tarsus. Let's do it. So, the whole soul of Tarsus' character is that he is part of a world that's moving on without him. He grew up on the old ways, and he sees his world withering away around him, and he does not want to let go of the past. So he's initially, at least, so obsessed with bringing his world, which is the world of Terran, back to its original glory, that he's a douche. He's an asshole. He's so willing to do that he is. Oh, hey, welcome back, Zach. He's so like pointlessly he's so pointlessly determined to save his world when deep down inside he realizes that there isn't any point and that there's nothing he can do. His world is moving on and its time has come. It's lasted for too long. He knows it deep down inside, but he's still holding on to the nostalgia of the way things used to be. And to a large extent, that is how I feel about, like, the more ideal times that my life, like, well, the more ideal times in my life, especially the stuff that, like, my old Bionicle storyline was based off of, because it definitely had its dark bits in it, and I did my best to make it, like, kind of dark and kind of, oh no, ooh, scary villains
Well, yeah,
and
the
stuff.
opening is him just getting mauled by an animal.
No, yeah.
But it's
It was the Revenants.
The Revenant was awesome. Good movie. Good movie.
Probably was, honestly, if you haven't seen it.
Okay.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet? Yeah, that's right. But anyway, back on
The
topic.
last 180 minutes are a good movie.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. But I mean, like, it had its dark parts, just based on like certain things that were happening in my life at the time. I don't really want to get into it, especially not on the show, but it's not exactly like I guess the way that Tarsus as a character is designed is to emulate my general state of mind right now, which is basically like, I mean, life is alright, but I wish things were the way they used to be, to a large extent. I really do. I wish that things were the way that they used to be in my life. So that's Tarsus. But then you've got, throughout the story, like, alright, so gonna straight up come out with it right now. My best friend died of cancer about 1.5 years ago, and it crushed me. It absolutely destroyed me.
Wait, say that again. Something happened.
My best friend died of cancer about 1 year ago,
Oh.
maybe 1.5 years, and it absolutely crushed my soul. Like, if I was depressed before, I was dead to rights right after that. And that happens to Tarsus in the story. There's a parallel to that in my story. When Edifex, who is another character, who is largely based off of things that I really, really hate about myself, but that I can't deny, he uses Tarsus' best friend in a blood magic ritual. Just, like, during a fight. And they're allies, too. They're allies, and that's what makes it even more cold and dark. And not only does that, like, kind of awaken Tarsus' hidden powers, yeah, I know, whatever, cliche, but it's a defining moment in his character, because you see his pure despair and the lengths that it drives him to.
Yeah.
And that was, to a large extent, what happened to me after my best friend died. As well as the fact that, like, I blame myself for it. I mean, I know it's not my fault. I know that it is not my fault. He died of cancer. I can't do anything about it. There's nothing that I could have done. It's a fact of life. He was gonna die. It was over. It was over before it began. But I still, to a large extent, hate myself for not being as good of a friend as I could have been, at least in my eyes, in the last, few months. I kind of receded into my own depression while he needed me. And I guess Edifex's, like, just straight up cold-blooded murder of Tarsus' best friend, who actually I don't actually have a name for right now. I was considering basing his name off of my best friend's name, but I don't know. I'm not really sure how I would do that, but that's beside the point. I guess that was largely a way for me to take out my own frustration on myself for how much I feel bad about not having been there for him in those last few months.
Yeah.
And
No,
that's a major defining moment in both of those characters' storylines, because it makes Edifex kind of think about, like, oh my god, like, he has one of his rare self-aware moments where he actually realizes how much of an idiot he is. And he also apologizes to Tarsus, and right after Tarsus almost beats him to death, like, brings him within inches of his life. And Tarsus after that loses any trust for anybody. He becomes completely cold and untrusting, and instead of, like, any optimism that he used to have as a character is gone, and he had very little to begin with. And that's the type of character development I have, because I tend to let actions in my story speak louder than words. So instead of describing with florid language and whatever how my characters are thinking, I prefer to do terrible stuff to them that forces their character to move along. And it works.
For me, it's a lot more of mixing both things. Like, sometimes you just have to have the character sit and have a revelation. And
yeah, I agree with that.
They're going berserk depending on how strong or weak willed they are, how to accept their own faults they are. I've written characters who've had, egos that not even over mine, and they've sat down and have just had breakdowns. Like myself, I'll give an example of someone who couldn't turn to anyone, had a fucking breakdown, and is dying. And I get what you mean where you come from as well, where you're saying that you know uh, I can't relate to that kind of thing with your best friend passing away, but it's definitely one of those things where
Like
I've had different
something bad
anxieties and
happens to
stuff in
someone
my
that you
life.
love, and you feel bad for them not having been there for them, right?
It's not even that, but it comes back to this whole notion of escapism,
Yeah.
mocking, where for me it was my anxieties and stuff, and a lot of the time people are like, oh, like you'd be talking to people, and you'd turn to the people in your life, and you'd explain your problems to them, and they'd say, oh, yeah, I understand,
And they really
that's what
don't.
you usually get is you understand, and then they try and, there was a time where I would interrupt people and I would say, no, you don't understand, because you can't understand. If you don't have this, you can't understand, and that's how it is.
Yeah, I completely
Humans are
yeah,
never
I get
truly
that.
connected.
Like,
There's
as
always
ironic
this,
as it is for me
you
to
know,
say that right now, I
I
completely
mean,
understand what you're saying. I
we
had
come
the
back
same
to
thing.
cynicism again with other people or others, and you know, it's definitely one of those things where the only way to escape from that is to put pen to paper and try and shove it onto someone else. And maybe that's a lot of what it comes from when people want other people to read their stories and know of their troubles and stuff, even if, I don't really say that a lot of the main characters' troubles are the same as other people's, but
Yeah,
yeah, I get what
yeah,
you mean.
like that describes it so well. You, I mean, like I said, you have a much better way with words than I do. Um, I actually I think that also kind of contributes to the fact that I used to be much better at sweet talking people, to be quite honest with you. Uh, back during the time that I was writing Bright Future
Yo,
and
man, we have to be
whatever.
honest with you. Your mic is cutting off.
Ah, damn it. Hold on a second.
On our end, it's cutting off a little bit.
Yeah, hold on a second. Alright, let's see if that did anything. Um,
I'm gonna try now.
is it better at all?
Well, I mean, it's not cutting off as much anymore.
Oh,
I'm still
alright.
try.
Well, fair enough. I mean, we could always move to Skype if you want. I can always pause this and we can move to Skype, but I mean,
And I have to add you on Skype if you want thing.
meh.
At any rate, I definitely get what you're saying. Like for me, there was one character that I wrote where, I took a Hideo Kojima kind of approach to them, where mix in ridiculous.
Like, ridiculous lines in speech.
It hits all the more harder. Like there's one point where, um, he, he's starting to realize that he's blind and he's kind of partially blind. He's like legally blind, this character. And he goes and he buys like batteries, like AA batteries,
Hey,
and
Lily.
they were selling them like individually. And
Oh, is
he was like,
that's what you, that's the excerpt that you sent.
That's the exit that I sent in the chat.
The, yeah,
Before this.
batteries, that must be the
There's a
chapter.
character, but he's buying AA batteries anyway. And another character finds him passed out, and you know, uh, she wakes him up, and then he kind of gets up and on his hoodie pocket spills like lip balm and like lips stuff, and he's like, "What the hell is this?" And then she just starts laughing at him, and he's like, "Why are you carrying around this lip balm?" And then he realizes they weren't batteries, that they were selling lip balm, and
And yeah, he bought them. Yeah, like he thought that they were something that they were not. And maybe, is that like a metaphor, I'm guessing? Oh boy, everybody's dead. Oh no. This is unfortunate.
What?
No, yeah, Sean's mic is either completely dead or he's...
Sean's just okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like... Actually, what was I saying before? Oh yeah, that's right. Something, oh, there, whoa. What was that?
That was
What
so
happened?
weird, man.
Sean, you
cut
should...
off, and then it came back, and it was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Where did I stop then? Where was it? Where did it become?
It was, you were talking about the lip balm, and I was asking you if it was like a metaphor for something, and it definitely probably is, because it's, well, definitely probably, look at that oxymoron,
I didn't get much of that, but did you guys get the gist of my thing?
Yeah, I got the gist of
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Like
I mean, I already heard it back then.
he's
so-
not
Yeah.
able. Yeah, like he's not able to
He,
see
he
the lip
thought
balm
the
for what it
word
is.
were better.
Yeah,
That was the
like he's
point.
not able to see what it is, and maybe that's like a metaphor
And it
for.
broke. Yeah, and it's just a case of ridiculousness from one person's perspective. That makes you feel bad when you see it from
Yeah, from the other person's
you
perspective.
laughed.
Yeah,
Because you were a bastard who laughed. And definitely playing with that kind of stuff is very interesting.
yeah. I actually quite appreciate that. That's a very it's a very interesting way to do things. And we're back because the old audio file was beginning to stop. What I was saying before, though.
Yo, man. Mike's cutting off again.
Oh no! Damn it! Not again. Hold on. Okay, how's that? That better? It better be.
You might
I
want
don't
to
care.
try and close every single tab you have or something.
I don't have anything open. This is literally all I have.
Oh.
I guess I can close Steam.
Well, then it's CenturyLink.
Yeah, probably just CenturyLink. By the way, don't give money to CenturyLink, everybody.
Yeah, CenturyLink is a piece of shit. Do not ever get your internet.
Yep. Anyway, though.
We're not sponsored by them, so screw them.
Die.
Essentially, is
CenturyLink,
Sean,
you can
they're
die.
very bad people.
They're very bad. They're
Very bad
horrible
people.
people. They're very bad. They're my ISP, and they yeah. They should
okay.
die.
You see, you're talking shit about them, and they're already cutting you off. I don't like you, man.
It's
They're
not
listening.
helping the
They're
situation
listening,
at
man.
all.
Anyway,
You're
what I
listening,
was.
like, fuck you, man.
Wait, Zach, I just realized that you linked to System of a Down. Cringe. Anyway. Dude, this is my last resort. Suffocation. No breathing.
What about you, Because we haven't heard much from you, but developing characters and stuff. What would you say about?
Yeah, actually, you should go ahead.
Okay, what was like the question again?
Oh, developing
How do
characters.
you go about developing characters?
Actually, should I finish my original thought before? I don't
Yeah,
know.
go ahead.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, that's what I'm saying.
Alright, yeah, because I feel like I just kind of left that hanging and like didn't finish my thought.
I mean, not like anyone cares, but go ahead.
Die.
We're friends.
I
2 out of 3 people here are friends. The other one is just a true, like, motherfucker.
Pretty
I'll
much.
let you guys do
Pretty
that.
much.
His name is Tristan. He's a total piece of shit.
Die, Zach. Alright, anyway.
This is exactly what I mean. He's sending death threats. like
It's not serious at all. Wow. Alright, anyway. What I was gonna say
whatever,
actually, it was
he
just
just
like
is-
my newer writing style. It's a lot less wordy and eloquent because it's a lot more based off of the way that I think now. It's more of a one-track mind thing because I'm not going into as much detail describing every little thing about a scene. Instead, I'm giving more attention to the bigger, more important parts of the scene that builds the bigger picture, instead of just going through as much effort as possible to make it sound pretty and skillful. And I think it actually works better. But I don't know. Anyway, yeah, you go ahead with what you were going to say.
No, I think you guys are interesting.
Oh, okay. I mean, well, that's really all I had to say about that.
Zach, you're up.
Yeah, you're up, Zach.
Well, you see, the thing is, like, okay, question was the whole thing about character development, right?
Yes, that is correct.
You see, with me, it's nothing like
Whoa.
I'm too cool for this. Listen, basically, like, since my story isn't even like that, like, well, like, thoroughly involved or anything like that, I'm still, like, planning out stuff. This thing has been in the works for, like, I don't know, God knows how long.
4 years now or
But,
something.
like, at least from what I've learned from, like, character development is the fact that you have to have this character evolve throughout your story. That is the basic premise of everything. It has to be nearly all your characters. The antagonist, I mean, if you really want them to be redeemable, then yeah, sure, go ahead. But like,
Oh, well, I feel like whether the
you at least have to have some
whether the
consequences
antagonist
for
is
their
redeemable,
actions.
I feel like whether the antagonist is redeemable or not is beside the point. He has to progress somehow. Doesn't matter
Well, yeah,
really how.
through
I mean,
more
unless
like clever tactics or being more brutal.
well, yeah, but I
to,
mean,
like,
he
to,
has a
like, adapt
personality
to this,
too.
Like other people.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
he
yeah,
has
I
he
mean,
has a
yeah.
personality too. He's just as
Yes.
much of a character as anybody else in your
Just how
story,
he
and
adapts
arguably
to
he's the
the
second,
surroundings that
if
he's
not
in.
most important one.
That's what all the characters have to invoke. I mean, I'm not gonna get into anything else because nothing is really there, like substance-wise. But that is the basic premise of what I see.
Yeah, that's fair
So,
enough. I agree with that. Although I do have to
Not
say,
sure.
like, as far as villain development goes, he's just as much of a
Well,
character
I
as
mean,
everybody else in the story.
Yeah, I wasn't
And-
like very on proper footing when I said that, but yeah, I
he
agree with what
he
you're
is
saying.
at least the second most important, if not the most important character in the story, because he basically drives the action. He drives the plot.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, basically just take Tristan's word for that because I totally forgot about that. Not very good with saying stuff on the spot.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Character development has to be a constant thing, and of course
Yeah,
there will
every
be.
character must have it in some ways.
Yeah, every character has to have it, and
They have to
it
adapt
should
to
be a
what is
constant
happening
thing.
around themselves.
I actually really appreciated that point because it should be a fairly constant thing, even though there will be moments that are going to be like defining moments for the character's development. It should be constantly
Yes,
evolving.
should be constant, and by the end, all these characters should be completely changed or different by since like the beginning of the story. They have to at least have changed in some ways.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with that.
That's the ultimate way, and basically how to do character development.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
I
really
could go into ways of how my self-mock develops, but I'm not gonna.
GG. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, even though that's like really like the basics of character development, it's an important thing to say, and it's actually something that neither Sean
It's the
nor I had
basics,
said.
but it's extremely important.
It's the essentials, really, and that's something that neither Sean or I had really gone into. So, you know what? Good job. Well done.
Oh, wow. I wasn't listening.
Oh, well done, Sean. Yeah, but I guess you'll hear it whenever this goes up.
Whatever it goes live.
This is like
Yeah.
a good 45 minutes long now, everybody.
There was one other thing that we wanted to talk about. We were talking about this, and that was stupid fight scenes.
Oh, yeah, let's do
Stupid
this.
fight scenes. Here we go.
All
Stupid
right.
fight scenes and how I have to do them. I went on a bit of a rant. I don't know whether it's justifiably called a rant.
No, it wasn't much
I
of a
need to make
rant,
sure-
I don't think.
I just needed to make sure that you guys knew the.
Well, then again, to be fair, I wasn't
Actually,
here for most of it. I was wrestling with a Gundam model, but that's beside the point.
We talk about like fight scenes and how to do them, and the right way, the basic do's and don'ts of a fight scene. Like the basic one is like, think of any good fight scene from a movie, and think what was more interesting. Was it the characters just punching no, this is a faulty example already, but was it the characters punching the shit out of each other, or was it the reasons the characters are punching, their dedication, seeing those reasons or motivations through? For me, it's always the reasons and motivations.
Okay, this
when I'm
has
watching-
to be said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so wrestling, right? Oh boy.
All right.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Okay, there is storyline behind all these like fights, and then like the main event, or like when they go to war with each other, etc. Fake script wrestling. Oh boy.
When they go to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's...
In the grandest
man.
stage of them all. Basically, yeah, I agree with Sean. The build-up is the most interesting part.
Yes, the build-up... Not only is the build-up more interesting than the fight
build-up and how
itself...
these characters handle each other. Is just,
Yes,
like,
exactly. It's
Well,
it's
one of
it's
the-
not
and the
just...
contrasting between a heel and a face.
Yeah,
That's
no,
actually that's a really good way to put it in wrestling terms. Yeah, the difference between a heel and a face. I actually, that's a really good way to describe it. It's usually gonna be a villain character who is of course the heel, who you're not supposed to like,
And then
and the
the protagonist
face.
is the face.
Yeah, the protagonist is the face, and I think actually one of the most interesting things that you can do with that is switch it out to make you feel like the protagonist is actually the heel in this case. I really enjoyed doing that with some of my writing. Uh,
And of course, you have to have like the motivations to why the characters are doing this. Sean had pointed out that like having this like mental warfare between the two of them is actually more interesting.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about because I'm not trying to give a rat's arse about wrestling. What I do know is
No,
what
no, no,
makes
no.
the
I said
fighting
mental
attractive-
warfare.
Yeah, sure. But like you're right about what you're saying about building it up. And Tristan agrees with me here when I say one of the best confrontations that's ever been in AP's literature ever is from the Legacy of the Fourth series from Star Wars, where
Yeah.
Darth Caedus is finally has his showdown with Jaina Solo.
yeah, Darth
And
Caedus.
it's like-
Oh man, Darth Caedus versus
It's a
Jaina was
short
fantastic.
scene. He just gets wrecked pretty fast. But what's important is Jaina,
Is
her reluctance to let go of the fact that deep somewhere inside Darth Caedus is her brother Jason. And up until the point where
And, yeah,
he commits,
she's-
like he does some heinous
Okay.
act like more
He-
genocide or whatever. But
well,
up until
not
that
only
happens,
not only does he
she
commit
refuses to
multiple
accept
acts of genocide,
that-
he
that-
also like no.
Here's this another thing I was saying.
Well, he
with
does some
mental
really
warfare.
terrible stuff,
You
but-
gotta think. You gotta like get into these characters' mindsets and think what the hell they're
Mhm.
doing and why they're doing it.
Yeah, well, I mean that was Sean's entire point during that whole like
The
tirade of
build
his
up is the
earlier.
most interesting part. The fight is a little cherry on the ice cream, or whatever it is.
Yeah, well, I mean the fight is more of a metaphor for the ideals and
The
their
fight is just
conflict.
added
Yeah,
there.
the fight is more of just a way to display what are really
The conflicts.
characters and their ideals conflicting. I mean, sure, you can make it look cool and make it enjoyable at the same time, and good on you if you do so, but the
Mm,
fight
like John
itself
Williams
is
is.
not as important as the driving forces behind it.
I guess a good example could be Civil War.
Shut up,
Yeah,
Zach. You
well-
can't say that.
No,
It's
Well,
the
no,
comic.
the comic.
okay.
Comic, you fucking idiot.
You know what? Please, I was going to use it against me, you savage animal idiot. Anyway, but I agree with you saying. That's a lot of it is because this goes back to what I was saying earlier on, that the king of fight scenes in anything.
Well, yeah, Darth Caedus versus Jaina. But I mean, oh hey, look, Sean's mic cut off again.
And like another like thing is the all-out war from The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, well, it's the more brutal, pragmatic, like
It's just
survival
these
only
contrasting
thing of
views.
Negan, whereas Rick to a large extent still cares about his group and like keeping people alive. Whereas Negan's really only doing
See,
it for
a lot
his
of
own
fights in
benefit.
literature have this thing where these characters have to have these conflicting point of views of why they're going to fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't put mindless bullshit into like a blender and then say, "Oh yeah, here's a fight." That's
Don't do what
worse.
the Matrix did.
Fucking rip.
There you go. There you go. Just diss the Matrix, everybody.
Great, everyone's gonna hit you now.
I don't care. I mean, it's true.
Empathy rather than just as much as.
I mean, I'm fine with that.
No, yeah,
I
like I
think-
don't care. There are major issues with the Matrix. The
No, I think
Matrix.
it's more of a great post breaking down the fighting bit, you know, where like the basic things are like, don't make it about the fighting, it should be about the moment. Don't want to go on forever. The best
Yeah.
way to make a compelling fight is to have a good build up. Those are the rules.
Yeah.
What do
Well,
you think
actually,
about
I
that?
think that's one of the
It's
few
a
things-
phenomenal post.
That's actually one of the few things about like Star Wars Episode 3 that really worked. Like the Revenge of the Sith. That's one of the few
Tread
things that
lightly.
it did right.
Tread lightly.
No, I'm just saying it's one of the few
Tread
things that it
lightly,
did.
lad.
I don't really care, honestly. But I
I'm
mean,
kidding, I'm
it's one of the
Right,
few
yeah.
things that it did right, like especially with the final battle. Like I don't know, it was meaningless
Oh
with
yeah, what,
like
that one, what is it, It's like Showdown of the Heroes or whatever?
Duel of the Fates. But yeah, the one on
No,
Mustafar.
Duel,
Yeah, Duel of Fates.
Duel of Fates, episode
Oh.
1. I think
Um
it's called Battle of the Heroes.
no, well,
Yeah,
I
Battle of
mean,
the Heroes. You're right.
yeah,
Right.
Duel of the Fates is the song. What am I talking about? The Yeah, but like the fight on Mustafar at the end of the movie
Yeah,
between Anakin and Obi-Wan. That's one of the
That was just
things that the movie
build up that ended to that.
exactly the
Yeah.
build up was so important to that because it was such a
And
such a
that's
huge part of
why
the story, especially
some,
like with Anakin, killing the kids at the Jedi Temple, and then Obi-Wan finding out and like he cannot believe it. He has to go and see Anakin for himself. That was such a huge part of it. It's Obi-Wan's own
I
conflicting
have the higher ground.
opinion.
All higher ground.
Hey,
you're my brother, Anakin. I loved you. I
Yeah.
hate you.
no, dude, you have the higher ground. You have the moral higher ground.
From
Genius. That was absolutely genius. I mean, like, yeah, but it's the thing. It's the thing of like Obi-Wan's own conflicting opinions about Anakin because he doesn't think that Anakin could possibly be capable of doing that, but Anakin was capable, and he's still coming to terms with it by the end of the fight.
In
Obi-Wan
general,
thinks
you
it's his
have
fault.
Yes, Obi-Wan does blame himself for it, and he still blames himself for it in the original trilogy, and that was one of the best connections between it. It's so obvious that he blames himself for it.
And that is the best way to write fights. You gotta have these characters who obviously have interesting views, build it up to the point where it's like fucking grand, and have a fight that can at least be equal to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Another interesting thing that I'm gonna come back to Fate a lot of times because
Well,
it's
Actually,
a masterpiece in my
just so you
opinion.
know, Sean,
But
I'm running out of space on my hard drive right now, so
I'm finished
really?
up real
yeah,
quick.
so
But
yeah, I only have about a minute left of recording on this
okay,
particular
anyway,
recording
one
anyway.
of the
It's gonna
big
cut
things
off.
having a good antagonist is whether the character does
Whoa.
or doesn't know what to do with them. Like there's points in Fate where the main antagonist, the protagonist doesn't know whether they're same or opposites. So,
Yeah, no, yeah, that's the same. Well, that's another thing, but I mean, that's just another multifaceted part of it. Where like with the heel and the face thing, which is basically just antagonist and protagonist in wrestling, you can switch those roles and make it into something that's more like, hey, is the face really the face here, or is he actually the heel? But in any case, that's about as much as I can do
That's a
tonight.
wrap.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
I'm Shoot the Glitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
me. Hello.
Like, good, share.
I'm
Like,
X.
Yeah.
Tiddly.
Toodly.